Hey everyone, Rob Murphy from Holistic Healing Choices here, and today we're going to have a look at the book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Now the book, with its witty title and shocking sort of use of that word on the front, gathers a lot of attention. But what does it really come down to? To me, it's more or less the explicit version of don't sweat the small stuff. In that it tells you where to sort of direct your energy to. Now, it's a book for this generation. There are a lot of points in this book that relate specifically to the people of our time, I guess you could say, and the burdens of our modern lifestyle, more or less. So, what exactly is this book about? And what are some of the lessons that we can take from such an obscenely titled book? Let's have a look. So one of the biggest points of the book is, where do you direct your energy? So what do you give a fuck about, more or less? So what is it that you're pushing all your energy out into? Because I look at it the same way as I do with EFT. If you have so many things that are 10 on the scale, that take up all your energy, consume you, they're constantly on your mind, where have you got time or energy or anything else for the things that you want to give that energy to? As well as, not running short of fatigue or running down or becoming so cripplingly ill that you can't do anything anymore. So the point is, choose carefully what you give a fuck about. Then one of the other biggest points is to be comfortable with being uncomfortable in who you are. If you're always out desiring, going forward, trying to improve yourself, which is something I am quite guilty of myself, you're starting to focus on what you don't have. So if you're always after the riches, the money, blah blah blah, subconsciously you think you're poor. So if you're comfortable with the position you're in, with what's perceived to be a negative experience, then you're more comfortable in life overall. I mean, that can be summed up easily as saying you're focusing on what you don't have rather than what you do have in this current moment. So it's also about that living in the present moment. And the quote from the book that sums that up is, the more you pursue feeling better, the less satisfied you become. Because the more you pursue something, only reinforces that you lack it. And then as a flip side to that, he goes on to say how pursuing some negative experiences can actually be more positive for you. So for instance, going to the gym means being fitter. So being in the gym is a negative experience in a way that you're suffering through pain for that ultimate outcome. Or failing at school, or in a test or anything like that, shows you your shortcomings. So you learn, you know what to do next time. Everything in life that's worthwhile is worth going through some sort of negative experience to get, or you will have to go through some sort of negative experience to be able to experience and have that ultimate goal. And then there's also that suffering is inevitable, which, I sort of agree with. The ultimate one that comes through there is death. Death being such a taboo subject, but it is the only guarantee in life. Like, you're not guaranteed to have a good job, you're not guaranteed to be the best at school, sports, whatever it is, but you are guaranteed to die. So learn to live with it, experience it, and once it's not so much of an issue, life becomes a lot more freer. Once you stop giving a fuck about suffering so much. Then another point that he comes up with is the problem with happiness. Now, I've known this one for a long time as well. In clinic, when I ask people, what they want out of things, they say they want to be happy. Well, happiness isn't a goal. Happiness is a state, and I can choose to be happy right now. If things can make you happy, being with people can make you happy, but happiness isn't going to last. It's not something to strive for. Striving for those things or accomplishments that make you happy, they're what's worth going for. But everybody's so concerned about not being happy, not being in the best state of mind. It's inevitable. Your state is going to change, even throughout the day, even throughout the hour. The moment you hear some shocking news, bam, that happiness can be gone. And then the other point that he goes on to make with that as well. So many people focus on what they want out of life, what they actually want. He twists it around a little bit to see what sort of pain do you want in your life? What sort of struggles do you want to have? So in that way too, do you want to struggle through school to be able to get that job? Do you want to struggle at the gym or at the athletic field to be able to be fitter, to win, to have what you want, to be the top athlete? So it's quite a unique way of looking at it, because nobody wants pain. Everybody's on their way out of pain. But what struggles do you want? Like for myself too, study, working, doing stuff like this, hours editing videos, or being in clinic. Well, that's not quite a struggle, that's more the goal that I've had. I've had to study and whatever else to get there. I've had to pay out numerous bills, insurances, blah, 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 to be able to do what I love. So those are the struggles that I choose for myself, the pain that I choose for myself. He then goes on to talk about more self-esteem issues and why the self-help culture can be a pretty toxic sort of place. So on the one hand, you've got people who do feel good about themselves for no particular reason, and why that's so bad. So if you have high self-esteem, you're able to address and assess even the negative aspects of yourself. And, still be okay with that. Whereas if you're not, you're going to be more in denial of those negative aspects of yourself. And especially if you're more entitled. So if you actually haven't had to work to achieve anything, but you've been given it all, you're going to start to believe that it should be given to you, or it should be this, and it's always going to be someone else's fault. Rather than looking inward saying, okay, I've messed up, I've failed, whatever. How do I get out of this? What do I do? How do I succeed? So it's quite an interesting take on it, and I quite like it, to be honest, because I can always look at my faults, see what I've done wrong, see how I can improve, and I go ahead and do it. And challenge myself as well with that. And if I fail, I pick myself up, reassess, and go on. Whereas I'm seeing countless people where they just blame other people. Even had them in clinic, well, I'm only this way because of my parents, or I'm only this way because my partner let me down this much that I just can't do anything. And it's complete crap. You choose how you feel, you choose what you do, where you are, what relationships you get into, how long you stay in those relationships, everything. You are the answer. And he also states to choose your values carefully. So by that, choosing the best values for you. So a list of good values could be honesty, integrity, the ability to be vulnerable, that's self-respect, innovation. Whereas a list of other ones are being too competitive, manipulating, trying to feel good all the time, no matter what that takes, whether that be by the use of other substances, never being alone, always rushing into other relationships, or just being around people all the time because you're too afraid to actually see who you are underneath. Then it goes on to state that your priorities will be chosen from your values. So if you have better values, you'll have better problems. There's a problem of not being alone. So you just throw yourself into a relationship, whether that person's violent towards you or what, you stay. Now, compare that problem to how do I make enough money to support my schooling habit, or learning, or this assignment that I'm doing for my graduation. Compare those two problems together, see which one you'd rather. And then leading straight on to that is accepting responsibility. You are responsible for everything that happens to you, how you feel. You may not be responsible for the situations that you somehow get yourself into. I mean, that could be due to family or friends or something else, but you're responsible for your actions in it. So the situation may suck, but what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit there and play the victim? Or are you going to do something about it? And then we move on to the subject of certainty. So when you're certain of something, growth stops. You're no longer able to learn anything there because you're certain you know the answer. So rather than looking for certainty and being right all the time, look for doubts. Look for doubts in your beliefs or anything like that that will challenge you, will expand your mind, will challenge you to grow even further. Because he believes that being wrong opens up the possibility of change and brings us opportunity to grow and explore. He then talks more and more about pain and choosing your goals wisely. So don't go after those short-term goals. They will only offer limited amounts of happiness. More or less, make those short-term goals the stepping stones to those bigger goals that you want to have, to be, to exist in your life. But then understand the pain that's going to come with them. The pain of, say, with graduating, you've got to study. You've got to be able to put in the long hours there, pay off those student debts, everything else, to live the life of your dreams. And embrace that pain. Embrace it. Don't try to numb it, get rid of it, whatever. Embrace it, visualize it, and act in spite of it. And then when you do start to just act in spite of it, or just do anything towards your goal, you'll find that it's a lot easier. And it starts to create that motivation. Even if you're not previously motivated to it, just start something small. Just do it, and you'll find it starts to build those neural pathways and everything else towards getting towards that goal. And you'll find it's a lot easier. And that it's also worth noting, our greatest achievement comes at the tail end of that pain and in the face of our greatest adversity. And then, as well, in terms of trying to be happy and sustaining that happiness, choosing quality over quantity. When you start to focus on that one thing, rather than a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces, for instance, getting that one uni degree, rather than spearing off doing all little courses everywhere else, you start to focus on that bit that's truly making you happy. As well as, it's been proven that we're actually happier with less. So the less that we have, the less bills, obviously, that we have to pay out, the less stuff just cluttering up our lives. We're actually happier with less. So go for that quality over quantity. And then commitment too. The more you commit to something, the more freeing it actually feels. The more you commit to it, the more it becomes your ultimate drive and goal, the less you feel as though you're missing out. So you start to eliminate that fear of missing out, which is a huge thing in today's society with our social media and everything like that. We start to see things that other people have and that, are small little wants, but see enough of it and we start to feel as though we're less. But the more you commit, the more you stay off that, the more you don't give a fuck about what other people have and you don't, that more freeing it is. Lastly, and most definitely not least, one of the lessons in the book is remember that you will die. Remember that you will die, so get out there and live the most amazing experiences that you can. And realise that you are bigger than just yourself. Putting your values and goals and what you do into something more than yourself and serving others and living with each day as a gift can lead to a better state of mind. Anyway guys, that's it from me. I hope you enjoy my little book review rundown on The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. If you've got any questions, queries or anything at all, feel free to drop a comment below. But anyway guys, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next video.